Hey guys, Doc. Oh, yes, I'm gonna do just a little bit of spraying for you today, but we're gonna talk about killing Poana. We're gonna talk about what you should do if you've overseeded your lawn with ryegrass. How do I kill it off? I'll talk a little bit about pre-emergence. We're gonna cover a bunch of different stuff. I'll show you 3 different products, and I'll show you the testing that we're gonna do so that we're gonna just do different stuff on different areas. So hold on one sec. Hey guys, Doc. In the last video I said I had, it was called Ask Doc. I asked you guys to post some questions up. And so I'm reading through, we've already got like 200 questions. I'm seeing a lot of questions, not just about Poana, but things about pre-emergent and killing off and overseed. So I'm gonna touch on a few things. The main thing I'm gonna do today, by the way, make sure you click subscribe. That red button over there, I think it is. And because we've got so much stuff coming up, I'm working on a special early germination with heating pads and seeds for the vegetable garden. We're going to be doing special stuff with the vegetable garden. I got a spray tank pull behind. I got a pull behind spreader, and I've got a brand new spreader that I want to talk to you about, which is a real large capacity spreader. I'll be showing you that probably here next week, because if we're going to put down organic matter on our lawn this year, we're going to want a larger hopper. I'll show you that. Tons of different stuff. So, Poana, we intentionally left some areas that we didn't do a good pre-immersion on, like in the back corner. That back corner is almost solid green from Poana. So, there's a couple of options for you, and I'm going to talk to you about your options. And you may want to flip-flop some treatments here. So let's cover the 3 products I'm going to talk about. Product number 1 is Image. Image. You can go down to Lowe's, Home Depot. In the description below, I'll link to this, and I'll link to all the other products too. Image is what a lot of people use on Poana. A lot of people say, well, it didn't kill it. It's not. It takes a while. Image, a large percentage of Image's action, killing action, actually comes to the roots. Matter of fact, they even say make sure you water it in within 7 days. So you spray it and then you don't get any rain, or it doesn't get to the roots, you know, for a week maybe, and then you got another week or 2. So this can take a long time to act. I just want you have to be patient. This really is effective in the root system. So if you spray this, spray it on when your lawn's a little bit dry right before rain, or actually wait till your soil's dry, spray it, and then water it in. It needs to get to the roots. That's why a lot of people say, Image didn't work that well for me, or it's taken forever. It takes time. This, let's talk about, I made some notes here and I figured it out. A bottle like this will treat about 6,000 square feet. It's about, you can get it for like 19 bucks a bottle. So it's about $66 an acre is what you'll pay for Image. But it's pretty simple to use. Just mix it with water and spray it out. Let's talk about, the old controversial, he's gonna pull out Negate. This is Negate, and I'll put a link to this. Now this is a dry formula that you mix up into water. According to the label, you have to mix the entire bottle. Now this bottle, which is 1.5 ounces, will treat 1 acre. So this little bottle treats 1 acre. And the manufacturer says that there's 2 chemicals in here, so you have to mix up the whole bottle because of grain size. And then you mix that into a gallon, and then you use proportionately that gallon into the amount of lawn you have. So that gets a little confusing for people. But this is pretty effective. This is really effective on Poana. But I'll caution you, if you get confused by proportions, if you get confused by mixing, that's probably not the product to use. But it is very effective. We used this last year on Poana, and it was amazing. It did a great job. Again, 1 bottle will treat a full acre. You don't go dumping this into a spray tank and spray. That's not the way it works. You have to really spend time with the instructions, and I'm not going to go over it with you. If you use that, again, this 1 bottle will treat 1 acre. The cost of this bottle is about 60 bucks. The next product I'll talk to you about is a product I have coming in tomorrow, and I'm probably going to use, we're going to be doing testing on different areas for you guys. Certainty. Certainty is same thing, is a small bottle. I think it's 1.25 ounces. But the nice thing about Certainty is you can, there's a scoop, and you can actually you don't have to mix the whole bottle. You can just use it proportionately with a scoop and mix it in. So those are the three products I think that most people will use to kill Poa Annua. Again, stick to image. It's pretty simple. If you want to use the negate, you can. If you want to use Certainteed, we're going to be doing a lot of tank sprayer, large scale spraying with some of this stuff. But let me throw a twist in there for you. Okay guys, so for this twist, I'm going to come inside because you got to kind of pay attention to this. I do not want everyone out there doing this. This is a special sort of circumstance. I have learned with Poa Annua that we're going to, if you have a ton of Poa Annua and you go out and kill your Poa Annua, you're still going to have some seed that's down in the grass. And in a couple of weeks, 3, 4 weeks or so, 5 weeks, when the weather starts to warm up a little bit, you may have another round of young Poa Annua pop up. That's case number one. Case number two would be as if you've planted with annual ryegrass. If you've planted annual ryegrass as an overseed, you're going to do this to help kill off the annual ryegrass. Why is that? I'm going to link in the description below to an article from the USGA talking about the long-term effects of planting perennial ryegrass in Bermuda and the impacts it has long-term, year after year, if you're doing that. It's basically you need to kill it off is what they're saying. You got to kill it. So anyways, read that article. It's a good article. That's why I use annual ryegrass. It's a lot easier to kill. You don't have to kill it. You can cut it down real short and the heat will kill it off, but I want to get rid of it so that my whole lawn is even. So this product, why am I using this product? Okay, Dimension. Dimension is it's not cheap, but it's a big bottle. Dimension is a pre-emergent that also has some post-emergent. So pre and post. So once a weed is established as post, it'll kill it. In our normal pre-emergent program, we tell you to put down if March 15th, let's say, is your date for pre-emergent in your area, start your granular 2 weeks before that. And then 2 weeks after it, if you've had a lot of weed problems, if you've had a lot of crabgrass, if you've had a lot of weeds, come back with a light coat of the Dimension and spray a light coat. Why is that? It's because the granular pre-emergent will do a pretty good job at stopping most of your weeds. But if you do have some actually start to germinate, this will come back and kill the younger crabgrass weeds. Now, I talked to an agronomist last year about this program, and he said that's just absolutely brilliant. Great program to use for people that really suffer with a lot of weeds. But the one thing I don't like about that program is that we are applying a negative on a lawn that is close to that transition period. So it may hurt your Bermuda a little bit for a week or two. You may see a little bit of chlorosis on your young Bermuda, but it's a lot better than having a yard full of crabgrass. So again, that split treatment is for people that have had a lot of weeds. You come back out and do that. The reason why we're including this now, which is way too early for this, supposedly, is because I know for a fact that I've killed off my Poa Annua before, and then a couple weeks later, when that warm weather starts to hit again, I start to see more young Poa Annua. I start to see that germination of young. So that's why I'm doing this treatment. Again, this is not for everyone. This is for people that either have an annual ryegrass seeding that want to kill it off, or have had huge problems with weeds and whatever. Now is not a bad time to actually get out a little bit early and put out some of this to help control some of that Poa Annua after you kill it. That's one of the reasons why I don't overseed. I don't like my rye to compete with my Bermuda. Plus, I like to have a break once in a while. So I just leave the lawn dormant and just don't worry about it. All the other lawns in the neighborhood look the exact same. It's nice and brown and just stays ready. So one thing I did want to talk about too, we'll cover, is a couple of people had some questions about pre-scalping, or in other words, can I cut my lawn a little bit now and then do a full scalp later? Absolutely. So as an example, I'll probably come out here, we might do a little bit of a pre-scalp on this, My lawn, I don't know if I can pre-scalp. I can pre-scalp barbs is a good example. Barbs is probably about 2.5 inches tall at least. And I can probably take that down to 1.5 inches or maybe even an inch, and then take it down to almost bare dirt. You don't want to do a bare dirt scalp until you start to see green Bermuda all over your lawn. So when you start to see green starting to shoot up through that brown, and your soil temperatures are rising, your temps are getting into the 70s consistently, and it's getting ready to kick in, and that's usually, I think, somewhere probably late March, maybe somewhere in April, for us that is. So yes, if you want to do a cleanup scalp, you can do a cleanup and maybe take it down a little bit, but don't do your solid dirt scalp until you're ready for that lawn to go. Another question real quick about pre-emergent, people were saying, how long of a period? We have a jumpstart program. If you read the Bermuda Lawn Guide, we talk about the jumpstart, where what we do is we come out to our lawns, and the one thing we don't want to do with our Bermuda is we don't want to stimulate it with a whole bunch of nitrogen. So what we do is we come out right about the time that we're going to be putting down our pre-emergent, or maybe a little bit before, about that same time. We're putting out Humichar to put carbon in the soil. We're going to put out PGF Balanced, which is a 10-10-10 quick release with iron. We're going to put that out, and we're actually feeding our soils at that point. We're not feeding the lawn, we're feeding our soils. So that when the warmer temperature comes and the grass starts to wake up, it'll wake up with plenty of nutrition and a healthy soil. And we can just sort of leave it alone, and then we can start, after that, we can start putting down PGF Complete, which is a 16-4-8. By the way, if you get your soil test done, this is a great time of year to be doing your soil tests. And if you have someone, a couple people say, I've got high phosphorus, well, use the 16-08. Use the 16-08 on it. If you have high phosphorus levels in your lawn, you may not want to do the 10-10-10, by the way. Just sort of skip that treatment until you get your phosphorus levels balanced out. Now, one tool I like to use is this right here. This is a little folding meat thermometer. I have about 5 different brands that I've been playing with. I'll put a link to this one down below. It's cheap. They're like 10 to 20 bucks, but I lose them all the time. So you just fold it open. I'm gonna stick it in the ground right now. And then we'll see what my soil temperature is. What's funny is this weekend, this is like February 6th, this weekend we're supposed to have some possible snow move in. We had sleet last night. It was kind of chilly. But this weekend, a week from now, next week, we're supposed to have some snow move in. I've said this all the time. If you're gonna get snow and freeze in Georgia, it's gonna be in February. So my soil temperature is 46.4, and I like to take it about noontime. You can go to a soil temperature map, or you can take your highs and lows for a whole week, and you can add those and divide it by 7 if you want to figure out what your soil temperature is. The easiest way is come out to an area that gets moderate sun at about 11 o'clock in the day, 12 o'clock, go down about 3 inches, and I'm at 46, which means I really don't have to worry just yet about too much on any crabgrass or warmer season weeds. But I am flipping this around, putting this out, so if I do have any Poana seed around, it'll take care of it. So I just want to let you guys know, I'm going to put up a clip real quick. We're going to test some of these different products for you guys. The results may not be available by the time you need it, because now is about the time. A lot of these products will say don't treat during a transition period. As an example, you may not want to use the Negate or the Certainteed or any of these products during your transition. In other words, after a scalp, when your grass is starting to come up, all these can sort of hurt Bermuda a little bit. May cause a little bit of chlorosis. So you don't want to put these down during that transition time, which is right about the time you say, hey, I got green coming up, I'm going to scalp my lawn. That's not the time to be doing this. The time to be doing this treatment is over the next couple of weeks. You want to be killing off your Poana, killing off winter weeds. Now's the time to be doing that, so that in a few weeks, when you're in a month or so, or a month and a half, when your lawn enters into the transition from dormancy into growth period, that these chemicals have pretty much worked there, have gone through their cycle and are out of the lawn. That's an important note. But I wanted to show you guys some differing results. I took a backpack sprayer and I mixed up some liquid pre-emergent and some negate, and I sprayed an area out here. That's one test. Another test we'll do is we'll spray some image, and then we'll spray one other one too with the toe behind. All right, so this is the one time a year when you start to do this stuff that you want to use heavy green dye. And you can see the green dye is all over in this section, back over in here, where it's real heavy Poana. And it stops right here, right about this tree. So the rest of this is untreated. What we're gonna do, it's gonna rain this evening, and then tomorrow and the next day it's gonna be sunny. So what I'm gonna do is I'll do some different test areas. I'll do a small area with just image, which works a lot slower. And then I've got one other product I'll show you. That's a spray that will do. So one thing I have to do back here is I got to be real careful about the green. I don't want overspray, so I can't have any windy conditions, and I got to be real careful back there. Hey guys, so this is my new favorite backpack sprayer. I'll put a link to it in the description below. It's a 4-gallon, has a little tiny lithium battery that goes inside the back here, and that battery lasts a long time. I think you get like, what, I forget what it is, a couple hours, 2 to 4 hours of spray time with it. The main thing to think about is understanding the way you walk, the way you spray. I know the way I spray, I can get about 4,000 square feet out of this 4-gallon. If I just walking at a nice pace, the spray at a certain level. You got to make sure that your wind speed is low when you do stuff like this. So today we're like at a 2-mile-an-hour wind, maybe, almost nothing. It's a good time to be spraying without overspray. So what I'm going to do here, I've got a mix in here that I put out here, which is negate and dimension, and I've got some green dye in here. So I'm going to spray. We'll put my name into this. I'll just write Doc on here. And then we'll come back in a few days, and in the next video I'll show you the update, because it's going to take a little while for it to take effect. So that's what I'm going to do. Thing I am doing that I think is important is I'm edging. So in other words, I'm walking around with my spray tip very, very low, about 12 inches away, even 6 inches at some point, and I'm doing edging along my flower beds, near my roses, my knockout roses, and around the pool, because I'm using green dye in this to see where I've sprayed, and I don't want the green dye to go on the concrete, even though it's not permanent. But I don't want this overspray to get into my gardens. That's important. I don't want it to get into my knockout roses. I don't want it to get on my palms. I don't want it to get into my trees and whatever. So I'm doing an outline, because I'm going to come back by here with my pull behind sprayer and do the big spray treatment. So I want to go and I want to outline this stuff before later in the week I do the full spray with the pull behind. All right, so I think you can probably see that green. There's probably about 18 inches of green. So I've gone very carefully. So I know I'm only putting this on the turf, but this will make my broader spraying a lot easier. And that's what you want to do. You want to take the time to do your edging if you're going to use a toe behind. But it's also important to make sure that this stuff doesn't get into your flower beds, on your trees, and everything else. Again, I think image is probably the easiest. You just need to be patient with it when you use image. You got to remember that. But it's the easiest. 6,000 square feet per bottle, basically. So if you got 12,000 square feet, you buy 2 bottles of it. That's the easiest one. When you get into the other stuff, you start to get into a bunch of complicated mixing stuff. Image is the easiest, but feel free to use anything you want. If you want to also mix in a pre-emergent at that time, you can do a liquid pre-emergent. That's especially true if you've got an overseed. Use a pre-emergent that'll attack that actual ryegrass. You don't want to be doing this stuff during the transition season. I want to warn you that. So you want to have this done before you get to your scalp. We'll be doing some cool stuff with the green this year, of course. I may even have a couple new reel mowers to actually test out for you guys, just to play around with them. You know, we may even change the grass type. Should I go to dwarf Bermuda on this? Right now it's dwarf bent and blue. I think I want to see how it does in the summertime. I don't know. Anyways, click subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.